Evening, everybody, and welcome to the council meeting. I'll call this meeting to order at 7:01. The adoption of the agenda under new business 13.1 is the Northwest Species at Risk appointment, which was not put on the committee groups. 13.2 is a call for a municipal rep on the Regional Advisory Council. And is there any others? Could I have someone move to adopt the agenda then, please? Councillor Librion, all in favor? Carried. Approval of minutes. Okay, let's just wait. 6.1. These are the October 21st minutes. Could I have someone move them if they're in order? Oh, Deputy Mayor.
Item 4.2 doesn't show who it was moved by.
Through your worship, we reviewed this, and I believe that this item was moved by the mayor, and this was supposed to be revised, so.
You're correct in that.
Yes,
It
we
was
will
me.
correct, yeah.
I'll move the minutes as amended.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. The unapproved minutes from the October 28th council meeting. Is there any errors? Deputy Mayor?
So in resolution 343, I think the motion should be at the end. And then after Councillor Anderson nominated myself, my acceptance of the nomination should be noted there, not at the bottom. And then in resolution 344, I don't think we can appoint acting mayors after October 2025 because that would be post the next election. So those last three should come out of there. And that's all I had.
Did you get that? Who's recording here? So those two couldn't be. Do you have all that, Jerry? Sorry, Director Phillips. All in favor, council? Carried. Okay. Careful, you're not taking my stuff.
No, this is my pile.
Okay, so we have the unapproved minutes for the regular council meeting. Deputy Mayor,
Someone else can do these.
you must be the only one that reads them with a fine-tooth comb.
So starting with 2, the adoption of the agenda.
Starting with 2.
So it says resolution 352-24, but resolution 352-24 was included in the org meeting. So it should actually start at resolution 354. And so all of the resolutions throughout the entire meeting are off by 2. Under my committee report, it's not the Regional Economic Vermilion Development. It's the Regional Economic Development Initiative for Northwest Alberta. And that's all I had.
Is there any other corrections? Could I have someone move these minutes, please?
I'll move with corrections.
Counselor Welke. All in favor? Carried. No delegation minute, or, I sent my report at the 12th hour. I had it done, I just forgot to send it. So, other than, the Community, Rail Alliance, there was a meeting of which I was not there, but I was there through teleconference. It was with CN in Edmonton, and CN shared their winter plans and expressed the unique challenges that we face up here in the weather and during the operating times. The Rail Traffic Control Center clearly highlighted the complexity of moving goods across this country. It's not just a simple factor, which we all knew. And now we're faced with the ports that are on strike. So it's just one thing after another. We discussed concerns that our communities have with rail access and expansion to the system to meet the needs of, and High Level has some of these problems. More communications were promised and growth and development. They were talking about building a public data portal so that the public could actually go into this portal and see the communications of CN. We'll see if it gets done. Discussed changes to the federal labor code to make work stoppages less likely. That's in the government's hands. I had a couple meetings with Viv, and then I attended the remembrance ceremony, delivered the message on behalf of the town to the veterans and their families. The event was well attended, and a special thank you to Director Schmidt and the fire department for making this a really great day with a replica of the cenotaph that is in front of the Legion. They made a replica and put it in the gymnasium, which made it a lot warmer when we were laying wreaths. So it was well attended and it was a great ceremony, so thank you very much to those people. Any questions? Yes. What? Did I spell?
Is that
Did I spell your name wrong, Viv? No?
THO? Is this with our CAO?
Yes,
Oh,
that's
okay.
Viv.
Okay, but it's THOSS.
Oh, I did spell it wrong. Okay, so correct that to SS, please. Sorry about that, Viv. Any other questions? Can I have someone move my report then?
I will.
Thank you,
Move the mayor's
Councillor
report.
Welke. All in favor? Carried. Committees on which councillors are appointed, Deputy Mayor.
So on November 4th, I attended also attended the Community Rail Advocacy Alliance meeting in Edmonton. Part of the presentation was a tour of their facility. The entire CN rail network is controlled from that facility, other than a 10-mile stretch in Winnipeg that is controlled in Winnipeg. Other than that, from Halifax to Vancouver, and our guide kept saying north to Hay River, even though the line ends at Enterprise. They also handed out their 2024 winter plan and grain plan. They did announce that September 2024 was their largest volume month for grain movement ever, and October was their second highest grain movement month ever. I did ask a question about Powerwood and was kind of shot down. They said ask after the meeting, and I did, and I was still shot down, so they said it's in mediation, they can't comment. My question was, why did it have to go to mediation if you have a customer that's looking for 4,000 rail cars a year? And unfortunately did not get any answers. From November 4th through the 7th, I attended the Rural Municipalities of Alberta Fall General Meeting and AGM. Different than how AUMA or Alberta Municipality Conventions are. Obviously there's fewer, I think there's 73 members of RMA as opposed to 240 some members of Alberta municipalities, so it was still probably 800 people there, I would think. Most of these municipalities have 10 councillors, or many of them, and almost everyone is there as well as lots of their admin staff. There was a great speaker brought in, Peter Mansbridge, was very, very interesting. He did highlight that that was the first meeting of this type, and apparently he's been a speaker at many, many, many of these, where the Premier, after her address to the delegates, actually opened the floor to just general questions, and she took questions for probably half an hour, and he expressed his surprise and pleasure about that he had never seen that before. I attended a couple of breakout sessions. One was growing together municipalities in the forestry sector, just highlighting the importance of municipalities working with our forestry partners to continue to highlight that with the province and in other areas. I then attended a second one that was a bit of a misnomer, and I would hope that Director Schmidt had been here. It was called the Wildfire Competency Framework, what it is and how to use it. And that's not what it was at all. It was sort of a review of the NFPA rules for communities under 20,000, which I think we're more than familiar with. Then on Friday, November 8th, attended the Northern Alberta Elected Leaders Meeting that was held in Grimshaw, although I did it by Zoom. A couple of interesting things of note. Whitecourt is building a new cultural and events center for $50 million, of which $16 million is coming from the province. Apparently $16 million, it was a donation from a local drama teacher, which I thought was quite interesting. And in terms of our wastewater, apparently Saddle Hills is well on their way to a wastewater upgrade, including a pipeline from the river. The total cost is estimated at $150 million, almost all of which is coming from the province. So I was quite surprised to hear that, as were many other members. Apparently the initial part is $100 million, and he wouldn't give exact numbers, but the majority of that, he said, is coming from the province. And as soon as that's done, there's a second phase for $50 million, which the government's already committed to.
For Saddle Hills,
For Saddle Hills.
to where?
In Saddle Hills, I guess, from the Peace River. For water
when?
treatment.
To which communities? Didn't say?
Didn't just, it's a Saddle Hills project. So there's several hamlets in Saddle Hills, so I would imagine that would encompass them all, just as we embark on whether or not we need to bring raw water. And one of the questions is going to come up later on the monitoring of Footner Lake, but that was a huge win for them, and same with the $16 million for Whitecourt for their cultural and event center.
I guess we should have called ours a cultural center.
I don't know, or had a really generous drama teacher, or both.
Must have been.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
that's
so
interesting.
I'll leave these in the council chambers if anyone wants to have a look at those. And that's it.
We better have a meeting with Saddle Hills, see how they did what they did to get their wastewater. Was that Who, was that the mayor or Ron? Oh. All right, thank you. Any questions to Deputy Mayor? No? Thank you very much. Counselor Anderson?
November 6th, I attended the Golden Range Society's meeting, annual meeting, or not annual, their monthly meeting. They have several events taking place between now and Christmas. I believe next weekend, or soon, they have their garage sale for Christmas ornaments. That's the next coming event that they have before Christmas. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Counselor Anderson. Counselor Forrest. We have two counselors on here that are not with us anymore. So let's go to Counselor Jessamine.
I have nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Counselor Welke.
Really going out of order this time. On, not even prepared, the 29th of October, I had a FASD, Northwest FASD Society board meeting, just standard. And on the 30th of October, I attended a community futures meeting, and it didn't come up during the org meeting, but it was clarified at this meeting. I am still the lead town representative, but I'm not actually a voting member of the board because I'm on my year off. Been on that board for a long time. So, but it was clarified that I can still attend and report back to the town. But otherwise, though, nothing too concerning out of community futures. Still struggle to do a lot of lending. There's not a lot of or a high volume of requests right now. But we do have a, fairly large caseload and also still wrapping up the RRF COVID loans that were managed through community futures. And that's about it, though. I just attended that one via Zoom. So that's all I have to report.
Did you have a lot of those through COVID,
The RRF loans through
Yeah.
community futures?
Yeah.
Yep, yeah.
but none now? Nobody wants to,
Well, that was a separate loan program from
Yeah.
the general lending that they do. And yeah, there were a lot of applicants for that through community futures. So.
all right, we'll go back to Counselor Lambert.
On, on November 5th, I attended a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and on November 11th, I also attended the Remembrance Day ceremony. That is all I have to report.
Thank you. And Counselor Lebrion.
Well, all I have to report is attending the Remembrance Day celebration, and agree with what you said. It was very well put on this year, and big shout out to Raise Signs for putting together that cenotaph. Looked great. That's it.
Thank you. Could I have someone move council reports, please? Counselor Anderson, thank you. All in favor? Carried. The council's resolution tracking sheet. I have a couple questions. Does anyone else have any?
Sit close to you because my iPad battery is dead, so I'm gonna have to read your paper copy with you.
Yeah, I don't want.
Sure, I thought it would, it's coming on, but probably won't be reliable.
So, I wanted to ask, through you, CAO, Director Bartholomew, about the update Powerwood that Deputy Mayor spoke about, if we have an update.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I would recommend that I can provide that update in camera.
Okay. Counselor Lambert,
Do we have an update on the situation at the pool? Is it in there? Oh, is it?
Yes, your worship, through your council, I was gonna mention that during the admin reports, but I can certainly do that. Found out today that the parts shipped from Malaysia were in metric, not imperial. And so we checked with the company and that is assisting us with that project to see if there's other pools in other municipalities that have the same filtration system. And we found out we're the only municipality that has used that. So it's not that we can acquire those parts from other communities. So right now, we're looking to see if we can do an adapter to go from imperial to metric to make those work. So the standpipe and the hub would be in metric, and the legs coming out with the filter media is in imperial. So we're trying to resolve that. So we're looking at some other options. The pool construction was developed to use that type of filtration system with a small manhole access. So we're looking at if there's some temporary type of system that we can use so that we get the pool up and operational. So that's the latest. I don't have any more information than what was provided today.
so the parts from Malaysia came but were in metric,
Yes.
and it took them a month to get here.
Yes.
And with the ports on strike, if we ordered more, it would probably take longer.
Should just build our multiplex.
They're not on strike? Oh, were they?
So it isn't good news, but we'll do everything we can to get it up and operational.
Okay, so, going on to the, housing, council directed administration to submit the second application for the housing accelerator? That was only in September? I thought that was like in June or,
Thank you for the question. Initially, administration brought forward that CMHC had announced that they would be opening the second round in June. And then the application deadline was in September, and it was submitted at that time.
okay. Holy. Okay, and my last one is the down to the pool update. It says the HVAC of both these facilities are have failed. Pool update.
Your worship, yes, there has been difficulties with the heating systems at the pool, with boiler systems. We believe that we've got those rectified. I got an update today on that. So there's two separate boiler systems, one that heats the enclosure where the pool area is, and the other it heats the office area, and then there's a boiler for the pool itself. Both are quite old. We have been able to repair them, and they're operational. The two heat exchangers at the arena the ones that haven't been working for 10 years. The one is up and operational, and the other one is awaiting, I believe, a valve. There's also slab heat as well in the facility, so that's what's been heating that facility. And today we found that we're not getting heat in the curling rink side. So they're working, trying to resolve that issue. So definitely there's been a lot of issues over the last little while with both those facilities, and we're working through it.
So, but the arena has been down for 10 years? Never been fixed? Deputy Mayor, do you have a question?
I do. So on the multipurpose evacuation center, we're looking to terminate our contract with GenCall. How's that going?
It's gonna go in camera. What? Yeah. All right. Oh, my last question was, have we prepared that, letter for the GPOT, like the, grants in place for the premier that we were supposed to submit?
Through your worship, I'll turn this over to the Director of Finance.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. If administration has drafted the letters, so we will just need the mayor to come in, review with the CAO and get the endorsement, so we can send that out to the following.
Okay. Will you guys quit? Okay, so the letter is ready and I can come in and sign it or go over it with the,
With the CAO, yes, Madam Mayor.
okay? Thank you. Could somebody please move this report? Councillor LeBrion. All in favor? Carried. The administration reports. Is somebody addressing this, or are we just gonna?
I can address it, Your Worship. We've combined the key activities for each department. Over the last couple months, we've tried to not include the day-to-day activities. And so the information that's provided are those key activities, and we've consolidated it into a document that's before council.
Is there any questions on the administration reports, Deputy Mayor?
So for, I think it's under utilities, the changed out the lake sensor at Footner Lake to monitor the lake levels. Do we know what the lake levels are at Footner historically?
Your Worship, through the Deputy Mayor, I don't have that information offhand, but it is lower than it has been for quite a few years. I can get that information provided to council.
Okay, could we maybe get that in terms of like how many years of a useful water supply would be in there if there was no more ground, like
Definitely.
that kind of information?
I have a question.
Councillor Wilkie?
It came to my attention from our local EMS company in town that the town of High Level had responded to multiple fentanyl overdoses in the area. And that was in a report somewhere. And I guess two things, some clarification on that volume, as the EMS, our local EMS company has not had any fentanyl or opioid overdose responses lately. And so why the town would have multiple reports of that. It's fairly serious, and I think it was classified as fentanyl, but I'm not sure how we would know that. So if we could at some point just get more clarification on those medical responses. I guess Rodney's not here tonight, but some clarification on those types of medical apparently co-responses, but it was only the town reporting these and not EMS. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
So these fentanyl overdoses, they would go to the hospital, wouldn't they?
Well, eventually, like that's where they would end up. But how we were involved with a variety, or like multiple calls like that, and not air medical.
Any other discussion on the reports? Could I have someone move the administrative reports then? Counselor Jessamine, all in favor? Carried. 10.3 is the infrastructure services capital project studies.
Yes, your worship. I was made aware that council was seeking some input on the status of the capital projects and studies that are being undertaken by the municipality.
Okay,
So we've put together the information within the package to indicate the status of those. And we'll work to keep council apprised of any changes as those projects and studies proceed.
and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Is there any question on these reports?
I'll move them for information.
All in favor? Carried. The high-level sports complex structure, oh no, the financial report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is, as discussed at the last council meeting, administration was putting together a more in-depth Q3 financial report. So here you would find operating revenue expense variance report with our budget, and then also an update on all of our capital projects, current and carry forward projects. And I've also included just an interim reserve and grant schedule and our current September 30th investment portfolio report. And I'm open to any questions.
I have a question in the interim grant schedule.
Right.
So it shows that we still have $2 million in the, $2.5 million in the burner variance.
Correct.
So where did our engineering costs and architect costs come from?
So originally, our capital project in 2020, we had a design and concept capital project that we already funded, we already allocated funds to. The burner variance grant came afterwards, so this is just a portion of some of those design and concepts that we changed, that we did more of the shell and the phases. So this wasn't funding all of our design and concept. We already approved the engineering part of the multipurpose facility prior to the burner variance grant coming. So this was awarded for us to use, and the allocation of this was to complete the rest of the design and concept of the multipurpose facility, and then also use that for the tendering instead of debenturing the $2 million for the tender project.
Will the cost of GenCo come out of this?
Yes, so the $46,000 resolution that was made was allocated from the burner variance grant.
Okay. So what were our costs? Can you tell me off the top of your head, because I couldn't find
For the,
For the
Engineering.
costs for the engineering and architectural drawings, what is that under?
that would be on the capital project status report.
Okay,
Let me just grab your,
multi-use facility construction?
correct, so under the design and concept project, that's under the community services department.
Okay, because I was really confused about that, because I thought all of our costs were coming out of that burner variance.
No, we were awarded the burner variance grant
I realize.
afterwards. So we already had our engineering, our design and concept project, and then we also already had our tendering and our construction budgets already approved prior to. So once we did get the burner variance grant allocated to us from the province, the decision was that we would finish off the design and concept and then get it ready for the tendering phase. Yep,
Thank you.
thanks.
Did I have? The other one that concerns me is the tourism grant fund. Like that has been down to nothing. I thought we had a discussion, and I may be wrong, council, about re-engaging the hotels and.
Thank you for the question. We're currently in discussion with members of the hospitality industry as well as restaurants to restart the collection of the tourism improvement fee. We're fairly early into those conversations, but the policy is already set up, the reserve is already set up, so we have everything that we need from council to move forward with that, and we are.
Okay, thank you. Is there questions from anybody else? So am I to read this report that we have 8 million in, looking at this CIBC in investments? 7.98 million? Am I reading that right?
Correct. So the value that we have in our investments, cash and fixed income, is the 8.026.
And on hand,
Pardon?
how much do we have in our reserves altogether? I didn't add them up,
Oh, sorry.
because some of them are pretty scant.
So on our general reserve, our utilities reserve, just to note with the schedule that the 2023 and 2024 transfers, those are just the budgeted, just because the year-end closing is not complete yet. So our investments should be matching, do reflect what our reserves are. What we've put into our investments are what we have sitting in our reserves. I will bring, as we complete the 2023 final review of the audit, I will bring all those final numbers, but we're looking at about 8.8 million right now in our investments. Keep in mind, Mayor and Council, that we did put in our opportunity costs from the DRP as well. That was a decision that council made the resolution to move those disaster funds in. So yes, we are sitting at about $7 million in the reserves, but that is just the budgeted numbers for the 2024 transfers and the end of the year 2023 surplus transfers.
Can we go, sorry, I want to go back to, I'm going backwards now, sorry, to the quarter 3 summary under development and planning. We actually budgeted for 1.3 million and our actuals are only 200. Is that because of the, I see you have NRAND grant and public sales of land
Correct. So looking at
under
that,
revenue, sorry.
sorry, Madam Mayor. Yes, under the revenues, so the direct public land sales, that was the $600,000 that was budgeted in development and planning for the direct sale of that, the transfer for the Powerwood land.
Okay. Okay, so that's what we're lacking there.
Right, that is, yeah, that's our variance, is our NRED grant transfers and our direct and public sales that we budgeted.
I'm done. Anybody else have questions? Great, thank you for that report.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the high-level sports complex structural agreement. Oh, no,
Through your worship,
no, we don't.
can we get a resolution too?
Could I have someone move this, please? The financial report? Counselor LeBreon, all in favor? Carried. Moving on to the sports complex structural agreement.
Thank you, Worship. I provided a little bit of background on the various inspection processes that have taken place on that facility over the last number of years. The one that was a full structural assessment, including mechanical, electrical, structural, was in 2015. Council is aware from an inspection in 2023 that there was some structural concerns with the foundation, with the grade beam and piles, and so there was a contract provided through council resolution to Reed, Jones, and Christopherson for to design the structural repair details for that work, and so I did review that. Those documents. In checking with that firm to determine what the present status, they indicated that the drawings and specs for the work will be completed and forwarded in the coming days. I actually expect that this week. However, with the onset of winter, that work would not proceed till spring if the council's desire is to undertake that work. The estimated cost is around $232,000 for that work. As mentioned in the document, a key consideration for council is whether to spend those funds on that work, being that the plan for council is to replace that facility. So it'll definitely be a budgetary item that will be coming forward for council's further consideration.
Can I ask a question of why this took so long? Like, why are we just in this phase now? Like, this report came to us, I can't remember, in March, February?
I don't have that answer, Your Worship.
I thought that we would be in this phase, this summer, we would have been fixing it up, so now it deteriorates another year.
Unfortunately, that is the situation. I mean, there's a number of issues. Poor drainage away from the building is one. It's very flat, the surface around there. And the other is freeze-thaw cycles. The moisture getting into the concrete because the soil's directly adjacent to that. So I don't have any answers for that, Your Worship.
All right, thank you. I really appreciate this report because I didn't have to read that great big document. It was, you know, condensed and summarized for us. So I really appreciate that, so thank you. Yes?
Could we ask them in their report to give their opinion on likely continuing damage to that facility if we don't undertake those repairs in the immediate future? So, you know, could we go, 2 more years without doing them, without having a critical failure, or 3, or just while we're considering our other options? Like, I just hate to put any more money into that building, like especially $250,000.
Your Worship, through to Deputy Mayor Langford, definitely we can seek that information. I'm sure they'd be able to provide some sort of a timeline that would be expected.
All in favor? Carried. All right, the request for decision for the budget timeline.
Madam Mayor and Council, this is, administration has prepared a 2025 budget preparation timeline. And this is just giving an overview, of what our budget, presentation will be to council as administration, all of our, target deadlines. And also just to, keep in mind that going into the 2026 year, this will be presented every spring to council for them to have an overview of what we're looking at to get input. And also requesting is if council can provide administration with direction to just some of the core elements that we want to establish and review for the 2025 budget year. In the discussion portion of the request, some of the core elements that we included were the current position of the 2025 budget, the tax revenues, franchise fees, utility rates, provincial and federal grants, funding to community groups, other projects and initiatives, service levels, capital and preventative maintenance, current and future staffing, cost of living, council remuneration. Census was also put in there. This is just a general item that we can have a discussion about. I know that our council has done municipal census after a federal census, so this is a discussion that we could have at budget time and maybe look at planning for future budget years. So administration is just looking for some input and also for council to approve the budget preparation timeline as presented for the 2025 year.
Council? Where were you getting those from, Director Clark, your goals, or the things you wanted us to discuss? Because I don't seem to have them.
Sorry,
I'm a
they're
visual person.
in the request for decision. They are listed under the core element.
I don't have it.
I'll give you. So they were just overview of just items that administration would bring to council just for input or that council initiatives would be a part of. So just looking for anything that council would like to add or maybe see more in depth when it comes to the budget meetings.
So is council good with these core elements, or are there others you wish to add? Do you guys have them? No. So none of us have this? Mm-mm.
Well, we have the RFD.
We have the RFD, but we don't have that included.
Through your worship, we can bring this forward at the committee of the whole meeting and make a recommendation there as well.
Yeah, maybe that would be good because council, in our package, it's not included.
My apologies,
That's okay.
council.
I know you
Ms.
guys,
Thaw said, we will definitely get that list out to council and maybe send the preparation timeline as a separate calendar, just so council has that timeline in their schedule.
I'm sure that they are fine, but council might want to add or delete some, so give us a chance to review it at committee of whole.
Correct. No, for sure. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. So could I have a motion to move this to committee of whole? Counselor Anderson, all in favor? Carried. So under new business, for some reason, I thought the deputy mayor must have called in and had me removed from the Northwest SAR committee. I thought it was there. I just, because I kept the committees and gave up those that I wanted, but I wanted to keep Northwest SAR, and deputy mayor was on there as well. So this is just a consideration of council to put us on there if deputy mayor still wants to remain on there. Okay, so could I have a motion for both the deputy mayor and I to be on this committee? Councillor Jessamine, all in favor? Carried. And the next one, there was a letter sent by the government to ask if a member of council would like to sit on the regional health board.
Did I not ask for this 6 years ago?
Well, you may have. But, you know, like, this new government's only been in there 2 years.
No, I just always thought this was a good idea.
So I don't know if council wants to add this to their council committee list. It does require an interview with the government. You have to fill out an application. You are not paid by the government to sit on their committee. It is an advisory committee. As a member of that committee for a long time, it was kind of, and no disrespect, but I felt like it was a checkbox only, that we had a very active board, but very little of what we took to the government ever filtered up to the government, it seemed like. So it is a huge commitment to them.
So do we know whether the province is moving this back to the regional health authorities? So back in the day, there were 9 regional health authorities, and they each had their own board. The last iteration of that, we were lumped in with Fort McMurray, whereas before that, we had been part of Grand Prairie. So I'm not sure if this is leading into that, but I know that was a huge time commitment, but I'd be in favor of doing this. I'm prepared to move that, and I would nominate Councillor Welke to sit on it as the, if he has the time, he's probably the best rep. We're looking for someone who has the ability to engage the community, to have background experience in the healthcare, and I just think Councillor Welke would be the perfect fit.
They're looking for, when did they need the name by? Tomorrow?
I'd be willing to go, but I have been on this committee before as well, and
I think this is, sorry, in reading that and doing a little bit of research, I don't think this is just the one that Mike Osborne used to chair and all, like, I think this is gonna have some more meat on it eventually, and if
hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully.
if they go from the one AHS Health Board and break it back up by region, then like this had budget implications, like you get input on the budget and where the money's allocated and like.
Yeah, I hope so, but I know that they were very, very clear that everybody know that it's an advisory council and not an advocacy council. So basically, you know, the Alberta Health's, I guess, message or like a mechanism to get Alberta Health's message out to the people, but not a sounding board from the public back. Now, that still happens, and that's actually what people felt, you know, it was an avenue to get, you know, what the people and, you know, with regards to healthcare, what they wanted to get back to the government. But they're very, very clear in their interview process that it's, you know, sort of a one-way communication stream. So maybe this will be a little bit different, or maybe they'll be a little more open to a two-way conversation from the public back to Alberta Health as well. But it was mostly designed, and I mean, they even are still calling it just an advisory council that, you know, it's a way to disseminate Alberta Health's information to the public. And like, I think the mayor said, it like checks a box in terms of being accessible, I guess, but, yeah, but I would be, okay to
Do you have
attend
the
these.
time?
Well, what are their commitments?
4 to 6 meetings a year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. If anybody else is jumping at it.
Yeah, I'm good with you doing it. All right. Could I have a, motion, all in favor of putting Counselor Welke there? Congratulations.
Thank you. Reacquaint myself with some old friends.
I don't know how many members are gonna be on this for our region. What? Oh, really? All right. So that ends our public portion of the meeting. Could I have a motion to move in camera, please? Counselor Anderson, all in favor? Carried. Good night, everybody, and thank you for attending. All right, you guys, all open your cans.